To the white girl who listens to Ghetto Boys and Tyler the Creator, you may call yourself ally. You may feel the warmth of your black pride swallow the chill of your white guilt. But before you speak the word ally, realize this. Before I am a woman, before I am 28 years old, before I am 2 degrees graduated with honors, before I am Mariah, I am black. My blackness is not measured in Facebook posts or the number of bitches, hoes, and niggas in the most played song in my Spotify. I do not have the privilege of snapping my fingers to niggas in Paris, but plugging my ears when another black teenager is shot down by the police. That shot rings in my ears with every breath I take. That shot echoes in my little brother's heartbeats. I do not have the privilege of praising the help, but closing my eyes to the blinding whiteness of the Oscars. Why do we have to make it about race? Can't we just honor the best work? I wish we could. I wish I didn't have to know that in the 91 years of the Academy Awards, only one black woman has won for Best Actress. Or that in America, black women make 62 cents to the white man's dollar. I wish I didn't have to know that 1 in 4 black girls will be sexually abused before the age of 18. It must be nice. It must be nice to live in a world where race doesn't matter. A world where America lives up to its promise of being the land of the free. A post-MLK Jr. world where Selma is not now. Where you don't have to fear, I can't breathe, being the last words you speak. A world where you can call yourself ally while continuing the oppression of the people that your white feminism claims to fight for. Yes, we have to make it about race. I have to make it about race. My life is about race.
It's a mysterious world, all sorts of signs involved. Harmonious, confusing to solve for the minds involved. Have a seat on that porch, it demanded. Elijah McClain. Singing is confusing to solve for the minds involved. Those beings he loved, cats lullabied by violin vibes, have been robbed of his love. It's a mysterious world, all sorts of signs involved. Ominous, confusing to solve for the minds involved. It's a mysterious world, killers let loose in this world. Ominous, confusing to solve, simple times dissolve.
We eat and are yet never full. It is never enough. We eat flesh, for our flesh never satisfies. Perhaps the other will become us, or we consume the other. We imprison the flesh. We impale it on the pillars of democratic guilt. Every day, a forgotten reminder that flesh is for sale, consumption, disposal. When feared hands hold feared gavels, complicity to preserve power, not justice. But that pile of bodies is still there. We could walk away, and yet every day it grows larger. Incarceration to solve the unsolvable, trap the despicable, trash the disposable, incinerate the executable. All flesh is on the hook.
What is police brutality?
Police brutality is the use of excessive and/or unnecessary force by the police in dealing with civilians.
Excessive use of force means a force well beyond what would be necessary to handle a situation.
Police brutality can be present in a number of ways. The most obvious form of police brutality is a physical form.
Police officers use nerve gas, pepper spray, and guns in order to physically intimidate or intentionally hurt civilians.
Police brutality can also take the form of false arrest, verbal abuse, psychological intimidation, sexual abuse, police corruption, racial profiling, political repression, and improper use of tasers.
And in some cases, death.
My name is Noelle Aaron Russell. I was murdered by the police on March 13th, 2017. I was only 23 years old. In a time that I was hoping to be protected and served, I was denied. Permanently. You may not know me, but I know police brutality. Until now, I was a name you didn't know.
Which one do you want me to put down as your race?
Huh?
For the census, I'm submitting our household online. What should I put down as your race? And I'm assuming your ethnicity is Hispanic, Latino?
Yes to the second part. What are my options for the first?
The usual.
Am I white? Yes. Am I a person of color? Yes. Liminal. Occupying a position at or on both sides of a boundary or threshold. Of, relating to, or being an intermediate state, phase, or condition. In between. Transitional. I exist in a liminal space. Do I have a seat at the table? How then do I fit myself into these categories, these binaries? I have benefited greatly from white privilege because I am light-skinned enough, white passing enough.
You're Latina and you don't speak Spanish?
Sorry, no.
Ay, qué lindo bebé. Tiene una sonrisa muy bonita. ¿Qué edad tiene? ¿Es tu primer bebé o tienes más? Son súper graciosos a esta edad y muy curiosos.
Lo siento, no hablo español.
Mi scusi? Sa dirmi dov'è il gate 26?
Excuse me?
Ah, lei non è di qui.
Sorry, no.
Ugh, my husband and I don't go to our vacation home in Big Bear anymore. There are just too many Mexicans there nowadays. Don't you think they're overrunning the town?
Sorry? No.
Oh, but I'm not racist or anything. My husband and I accept people of every color.
You do know I'm half Mexican American, right?
Oh, is that your mom? I didn't realize she was so blonde. But I can totally see the resemblance now. You two have the same mannerisms and everything. You're like a brown version of her.
Sorry, no. I'm actually my own person.
Yeah, but you're different. Your family's not like other Mexican families, you know?
Sorry, no.
Oh, come on. You know what I mean?
Sorry, no! Let me tell you a story. My great-grandparents once bought a home in a white neighborhood. My great-grandmother, who was lighter-skinned than her husband and 7 children, went through the home buying process alone and put the home in her name. She feared that if it was clear her family was Mexican, they would not be allowed to live on that side of the tracks. And you know what? She was right. As soon as they moved in, the neighbors began whispering about those dark-skinned, Spanish-speaking Mexicans. They even circulated a petition to get them thrown out. My grandmother was never allowed to play with the other neighbors. When I asked my grandma why she and my grandpa didn't teach my dad Spanish, She told me that she wasn't even allowed to speak Spanish at school. She would get in trouble for speaking her own language on campus. They were trying to protect their kids. They wanted them to fit in, to be more American. She knew that being American meant being more white. They were trying to protect their kids from racist experiences like these as much as possible. And for the most part, they succeeded. But I often wonder what else was lost in that process.
Little baby, know head to toe that Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Can't reach the sky, you know I till the ceiling shatters. Ceiling shatters. One world, one people, we're equal. That's the answer. 'Cause little baby, know head to toe that Black Lives Matter. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. It's a new day, don't be afraid of the changes. We've waited so long to belong and not be strangers. One world, one people, we're equal and stronger together. So let's lift our voices with love all together now. Black lives matter. Everybody now. Black lives matter. Come on. Black lives matter. Give it to me now. Black lives matter. Clap your hands, everybody. Oh, it is time to dream up a better world and build something new. All together now. Find your voices, come together, value our differences. All together now. So go on, raise your voices. All together now. Black lives matter. Black lives, they matter. Black lives, they matter. Black lives matter.
Oh, hey, Christine. It's good to see you again. Hey, it's so good to see you too. Yeah, I love golf. My family taught me when I was a little girl, and I've been playing ever since. And with COVID, I mean, what else is there to do, right? Yeah. I mean, your family, you said they were from, where are they from? Oh, they're from South Korea. They immigrated the day after Christmas in 1976. Can you believe they came here with just a couple of suitcases each? Oh, wow, why such a drastic move? Well, my grandpa, he only has 4 girls, and he says back in the day, they didn't have a lot of good job opportunities for girls in Korea. So he gave up his perfectly good job as a vice principal at a school so that his girls could have a better chance at a successful life here. What about you? Ugh. Oh, I bounced around a bit. For about 5 years, actually. By the time I was 7, my parents were divorced. I got back here permanently, and I couldn't speak a lick of English. My family thought it would be smart to send me to a Catholic school down the street, thinking the kids would be nicer to me. But you know what they did? They bullied me. They called me all sorts of names. Ching Chong, Chung Lee, you name it, they said it. Wow, well, did things get better after you picked up your English again? Oh, please. When I was in middle school, I became good friends with this group of Asian kids, and the minute I became best friends with a white girl, you know what they did to me? They totally ostracized me. They made up horrible rumors about me. They ruined my class president campaign. You know, I gave up after that. In high school, I didn't want to be a part of any group. I'd rather eat lunch by myself in the hallways, in the bathroom sometimes. I just wandered around campus waiting for the bell to ring so I can get to my next class. Wow, you must have hated being Asian after that experience. Yeah, you could say that. I mean, I remember this one time I was going to school at UCLA, and my mom brings a bunch of Korean food to my apartment, and my friends are there. I remember telling her, "Mom, I don't want your bulgogi and I don't want your kimchi here, okay? You're embarrassing me." Even though I knew she spent all day making that. A few years later, I found myself signing a lease agreement, and you know what I had to sign my name to? I had to promise the landlord that I will never bring kimchi into the house. Why? Because the landlord said it smelled too much. So the racism continued after you graduated from college? Well, I went around quite a bit. I lived in Fort Myers, Florida. It was a cookie-cutter white community. And then there was Flagstaff with that landlord. Oh yeah, and then there was Phoenix. I remember my news director told me to have a seat in his office. And he said, "Christine, I am so sorry to have to tell you this, but Phoenix isn't LA, and you're gonna hear a lot of offensive things, but I don't want you to take it personally, okay? They're just ignorant people." I don't know why he had to sit me down in his office to tell me that, but I did appreciate the gesture. Oh, and then there was this time in Dallas. I was filming a story one day, and there was this guy, and he just drove down the street and stopped right in front of me. He rolled down his windows, and then he said a bunch of things to me in this Asian language that I couldn't understand. And I said, "Sir, I don't understand what you're saying." And he goes, "You don't know Vietnamese." And I said, "No." And then he proceeded to curse at me on the top of his lungs before speeding away. I mean, how was I supposed to respond? I mean, I know that I was living in Dallas. I know I was hired maybe because of fulfilling some sort of diversity quota. Around the time that I was hired, there was the only other Asian reporter, and she was on her way out. And there was also a guy from Libya and a girl from Zimbabwe who were hired along with me. And we had to live and work in these communities where, ironically, a lot of the people there looked a lot like us. That's offensive. Yeah, it is. But you know what? I was fine with it. I was happy to MC an Asian-related event every other weekend for months. I was happy to represent my people. I was grateful for that job because if I didn't get it that way, would that opportunity ever have come to me? Well, how are things now with COVID? Oh, it's been fine. I mean, I live in Torrance now. It's what, 35% Asian? But a friend did tell me recently, and she lives in Chicago, Illinois. She said she's too afraid to go to the market by herself. I mean, she's a tiny little Korean girl. And she said she was afraid that she might get attacked by some racist person. She says the Midwest is very different from California. And I know even here, some ignorant person's gonna come up to me again someday. And yeah, I'm gonna get upset. But what can I do?
I just want to say how sorry I am that this happened to you. We absolutely do not tolerate that deplorable language here at Stone and Robert LLC. I know that it is not your fault that she called you the N-word. It's not the N-word. You have to cock it back and pull the trigger and say it. The word is nigger. You have to emphasize the ER. The motive, it's sinister and it's bigger than what your N-word politics allow. I will not be PC to keep you at ease. I'm not here to battle or sign peace treaties. I don't negotiate with enemies. I'm the nigger that you dehumanize on the other side of the phone. The nigger that you laugh about over dinner in the confines of home. Or keep silent when your husband makes such an innocent nigger joke. That's why I can't trust your liberal niceties at the BLM March, because you don't attempt to effect change with your own kinfolk. Complacent and complicit. Your silence is illicit. However, you know it's lit to be a nigger. You know, N-I-G-G-A. Nigga music, nigga dances, nigga bitches, nigga asses, nigga lips, nigga braids, nigga faux locks, nigga fade. Go ahead, marry a rich nigga ball player or a music producer. Co-op nigga styles, romanticize nigga foods and nigga hoods. Sing and spit curses and verses in nigga vernacular. It's a nigga spectacular. Get a tan as close to being nigga black. It's lit to be a nigga until it's time to pay the nigga tax. I thought it was just a word. Oh, just a word, right? Well, my southern-born 80-year-old elder, she minimized my anguish as if I had no right. But without speaking, I knew that she'd been through and she'd seen way more. Baby, it's not what they call you. It's what you answer to. Is the shit that people like her say to silence the wailing coming from my core. Because she, like I, had been desensitized. The same reason I kept on answering your phones for another 40 minutes after the offense. My elder offered me no consolation or comfort or even her own 2 cents. But I said, you keep on living. It's going to happen again. Yes, even my 80-year-old Obama loving, ever hopeful, and refusing to listen to Jay-Z's OJ song, Elder. She sees the words nigger and nigga in a much different lens. So, makes me reconsider my use of another nigger derivative. I say, girl, forget that nigger. Nicka. No, it ain't the same negative connotation of niggas. Because for some of you, I'm an exceptional nigger. You marvel in wide-eyed amazement. Oh, what great happy hour entertainment as you listen to my world travel stories, my education, and my intellectual conversation. Speaking of, this ongoing debate as to who has the exclusive rights for any nigger derivative for non-blacks. It's strictly prohibited. Can you picture 23-year-old me just strolling the streets of mostly white Buffalo Grove, Illinois, and from a drop top full of white boys, one of them yells out, "Hey nigger, go home! Sticks and stones, they may break my bones, but those words, they expose my vulnerability to things that even 19 years later, I am still prone. So until you felt that sting or you've smelt that stench of verbal nooses intended to lynch, there is an altar for violators to repent or a deserving fiery furnace for sinners to be sent."
Let me tell you a little story. When I was a little boy, about 5 years old, I was walking down the street with my dad in Germany. Yeah, Germany. And coming towards us was this other little boy, probably about my age, with his mom. And when he saw us, he looked at his mom and he points and he goes, "Guck mal, Mutti, 2 Schokoladenmänner. Look, Mom, 2 chocolate men." And when they got real close to us, my dad leaned over and he said, "Ja, aber uns kannst du nicht essen. Yeah, but you can't eat us." That little boy's eyes got about this big, and his mom, she was so embarrassed. She was like, "Ah!" But my dad, he just looked at him and smiled. So when I was in the 3rd grade, this German glassblower came to our school, did a demonstration, and we all got to go watch him. And when it was my turn, I was standing up there on the stage, and on this table, I saw he had made this little glass horse. And I pointed at it and I said, "Das ist ein schönes Pferd." And that old man looked up at me and he said, "Du sprichst Deutsch?" "Ja." And then we had a conversation in German. And when it was time for me to go, he picked up the little horse and he handed it to me and he said, "Ich mach dir ein Geschenk, weil du so gut Deutsch sprichst. Jetzt bist du mein Freund. I'm gonna give you this present because you speak such good German. And now you're my buddy." Man, I went back to class and I had that horse sitting on my desk. I was smiling from ear to ear, and all of a sudden I hear the teacher stop the lesson and she goes, "Herbert, where did you get that?" "The German man gave it to me because I spoke such good German." And she said, "I do not believe you. I'm calling your father." And she walked out of the room. I didn't even get a chance to say anything. And when my dad came in, she said to him, Mr. Hall, I am so sorry to have to tell you this, but earlier today, Herbert stole something, and then he lied about having taken it. My dad gave me that look. I knew I was going to get a whipping for something I didn't even do. What did he take? She handed him the little glass horse and said, "He claims that the gentleman gave him this as a gift because he spoke German, and I know that that is not the case. I am so disappointed in Herbert that he would steal something and then lie about it." My dad turned to me real slow and he said, "Sag mir die Wahrheit. Hast du das gestohlen?" "Nein, der Mann hat's mir gegeben, weil ich so gut Deutsch sprechen konnte." My dad looked at the teacher. You should have seen her face. She was so red, she looked like she wished the ground would just swallow her up. And she said, "Well, I've never heard of a Negro boy who could speak German." My dad didn't say anything. He just took my hand and we walked out of the room. So another time, I was still in the 3rd grade, and our German housekeeper, Alice, told me to go to the playground, get some fresh air. So I ran down there and I jumped in a swing and I started swinging up and down and I was flying way up in the air, and all of a sudden I hear this, "Hey!" And I looked down and there are these 3 big white boys standing there. And I stopped, and the biggest one, he comes right up to me. "Niggers aren't allowed on this playground." I was so shocked, I couldn't even move. And then they all got around me. "You better get out of here, or we are gonna beat you up." I walked past them real slow, because I was afraid they were gonna jump me from behind. And when I got back to the apartment, Alice wouldn't let me in the door. She told me she had seen the whole thing, and she told me that I had to go back to the playground. I tried to argue with her, but she told me she wasn't going to let me in unless I went back to the playground. So I went back, and those boys were gone. And I jumped on the swing, and I started swinging up and down real fast, really hard, for about 10 seconds. And then I jumped off and I ran home as fast as I could. And when I got there, Alice let me in, and all she said was, "Und?" Well, see? Now, you tell me which story was about racism. There's plenty of it out there, you know. Don't negate it. Don't look for it where it isn't. Look for it where it is.
I've been thinking about the news. Daddy leaves it on all day through. I've been thinking about the wars, and to be honest, I can't take it anymore. I hear you every day, the awful words you say, but hate can't be the face of the American dream. I've been thinking about my life, how one day I wanna be a mother and a wife. I've been scared of that thought too. In a world of struggle, what are we gonna do? I hear you every day saying it's gonna be okay, but hate can't be the face of the American dream. And I know we've got a long way to go, but I've got to believe that change is a choice and it can start with me. And I've been thinking about our mother and how they took her away from her people, put her in a boarding school, away from her brother, sister, and culture. I can hear her every night saying we've gotta make this right, 'cause hate can't be the face of the American dream. And I know we've got a long way to go, but I've got to believe that change is a choice and it can start with me. And change is a choice and it can start with me. And change is a choice and it can start with